Good evening, everyone. A very happy evening to all of you, and it's a pleasure to welcome you all to this second webinar of RRD BYOB. Today, the speciality of today's webinar will be the speaker, Mr. Milan Paduka. He's a mentor as well, and he's going to highlight on each problem statement. So the first 45 minutes will be, he's going to highlight 15 minutes each on the each problem statement. Towards the end of the session, the 15 minutes, we will keep it for question and answer. Sorry, I have to put you all on mute because I have to maintain the silence of this recording. So please help me in this. I'm going to just unmute the speaker. Maybe Milan, you can unmute yourself. Okay, I think yours is unmute. I welcome you all. Let us start the session. Milan, over to you.
Right, thanks Vijita. So thank you everyone for joining, and so as Vijita outlined, today's objective will be for us to take you through the three problem statements that we have defined. We will spend a little bit more time on each and every solution, each and every challenge, and then we'll take Q&A, any questions that, any clarifications that you may have once we complete one question, and then we'll move on to the next one. So that's the outline for the discussion today. So that being said, so I'll directly take you to the first question. So the way how we have defined the first question is that I will start off by saying it's the simplest challenge that we have of the three problem statements that we have, and it also carries 25% of the marks out of the 100 maximum possible marks that has been allocated for the other two questions. And this problem at a high level is very simple, where all the entire requirement will be for us to read and understand a set of documents and classify that based on predefined criteria. So in this case, we have defined the criteria as easy, moderate, and difficult. So how the end solution would look like is you will have one folder where we will place a particular file, and then the solution, the bot that you will build, will go read that file, check the logics that we are going to define now, and then it will classify it to say if it is easy, moderate, or difficult. Now with that being said, the types of files that we are going to give are the financial statements that have been filed in the UK. So just a little bit of background for everybody in case if you're not aware. So likewise in India and every other country, in the UK as well, so every year all these companies are supposed to file their financial statements, which includes your annual accounts and annual returns mainly. And the types of documents that will be in scope for this discussion, or rather all the three problem statements, are annual accounts only, which is filed in the US, or rather UK GAAP format. So in this problem statement, what we will be doing is we will be given a set of financial statements. So initially there will be 10 statements that we will give you as test data for you to test and train data for you to work with. So based on those documents, you can build your model. And after you build your model, when we test it, we will send or pass a different set of documents that I have separately through your solution, and we'll see how effectively your solution is working. So that being said, this is how a typical financial document would look like. I'll give it a try to share one document so that everybody is able to see how it looks. If you could give me a minute. Vijita, I'm just checking to see, are you able to see the PDF files that are opening on my screen?
Yes.
So I have three open, you're able to see all three, right?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. So I've just opened three files for you to give an understanding as to how this document would look. So all these documents will have a starting page, and then you will have your tables of content, and then you will have your little bit of information, right? So the company information, and then it will move into your financial tables, financial information. So different documents will have, even though they contain the same level of information, they will be written in many different ways. So for example, and however, they will have the same set of information. For example, every document is supposed to have an income statement. So they should be called in many different ways. However, there's going to be one income statement. So in this template, or rather in this file, this is how it would look. So you'll have a turnover, cost of sales, gross profit, administrative expenses, likewise. But if I go to a different format, or rather different company, this is how it will look. So here it's called the profit and loss account. You will have your turnover, you will have your other income, you will have your cost of materials, likewise. So this is how it is structured here, whereas this is how it would look in this case. So similarly, in a different company, a third company, looking for that. All right, so this is how you would see that. So you would have observed, right? So one thing is the template that it gets is different, and the position where it appears. In this case, it's on the 12th page. In this case, it's on the 4th page. In this case, it's on the 10th page. Position it applies is different, appears is different. So these are completely unrelated documents from a structure standpoint. So these are the documents that you will be working with. And if I take you back to the problem statement, what we need to do is read this entire document and see if to which category that these documents would belong to. So the first category we have defined is easy, whereas we are asking the accounts only with the balance sheet to be picked, and the balance sheet is not supposed to have any notes. So in this case, what we mean by balance sheet is, it's clearly called out here saying it's a balance sheet. So that's one. So it's a simple search condition that you will have to see if there is a balance sheet, but you will need to understand the balance sheet may be typed in different ways, right? Or rather, it could be capital B and the rest is simple. There may be space, there might not be space. When you, these are scanned documents, right? When you OCR and extract, it might come in a different way. So these areas you need to cover. However, there has to be a balance sheet, and there should not be any notes within the balance sheet. So what that means is, for every document, every balance sheet or every table rather, you will have 2 years of information, most probably 2018-17 in this case, and then you will have a notes column. So you'll have your data line items, you'll have your notes, and then the years. So this is the notes column that I'm referring to. And in this case, if it is to be easy, you should have balance sheets, but you should not have any notes, meaning you should not have a number within notes. So this is what we mean by the easy column. Okay. And then moving to moderate, you need to have financial statements with the balance sheet. So BS here we are meaning that we are referring to the balance sheet, and profit and loss account and cash flow statement with notes. Okay. So you're supposed to have a balance sheet. You're supposed to have a profit and loss statement. So if I go down, I'll show you how a profit and loss would look if I have a copy here. Nope, I don't have one here. So I will try to show one here. All right, so this is in this document, this is how the profit and loss statement would look, right? So you will have a profit and loss statement. Similarly, you will have to look for the rest as well. So you'll have a balance sheet, profit and loss, and a cash flow statement. And these documents can contain notes, likewise, all these three types. However, information in notes of the balance sheet, profit and loss, and cash flow should only be in tabular format. Now, I'll take a minute to explain what I mean by here. Now, first thing, how do you read and understand a note is, if under notes, if you have 11, so in the document, you need to go down. And when it starts, when it says notes to the financial statement, so this is 1, this is 1.1, 1.3. Likewise, it will go up to 13, right? So first one, so these are the notes with free flowing text. Now here I don't find any tabular format, right? So this is free flowing text for me. I'll show you how a tabular format data would look like. So I have a copy here. Do I have it? Right. So this is how the financial notes in tabular format would look like. So I assume that in a balance sheet you had a 3. So you come down and you find 3 under notes, and then you find turnover and other revenue. So this is your note. So this note in this case comes in tabular format. So you understand the difference between image number 2 and 1. So image number 2 is in tabular format. Image number 1, where is my 1? Image number 3 actually is in free flowing text. So we want to make sure whatever is in the balance sheet is only in tabular format and not in free flowing text. So that's my moderate. If it fixes or if it matches all these criteria, then I will fit it under, plug it under category 2. And that brings us to the third category, which is difficult. Financial statements with all above components with notes and information in notes of balance sheet, profit and loss and cash flow are in free flowing or tabular format. So in other terms, you have documents that doesn't belong to easy or moderate. However, those documents have balance sheet, profit and loss and cash flow, and if they have notes either in free flowing or tabular format, we will plug it under difficult. So these are the 3 categories that we are asking, and if I repeat how the solution would look, I will have my input, I will run the tool, and then the tool will output saying which document is it easy, classify an output saying easy, moderate or difficult. So that is how the solution architecture would, not the architecture, how do I say, the expectation from a solution standpoint. And how exactly do we need the output? We need the output in CSV tabular output. So it will simply be, let's say if I take Excel, it has to be a table where we will have, if I run 10 files, I will list down the 10 file names, file number 1, file number 2, file number 3, likewise. And then for every file number 1, I will have if it is easy, moderate or difficult. File number 2, I will have easy, moderate or difficult. File number 3, I will have likewise. If I run n number of files, it will have n number of rows and it will have the classification for each and every one. So this is how the first problem statement is defined. And I'll take a pause here and we'll open the forum for any questions that you guys may have, and from there we can pick it up. Vijay, if you could check if anyone
Yeah.
has
So any questions here on this challenge number 1? You can unmute your mic and you can ask this question. Anmol, you have any question?
Ma'am, I just want to know whether the profit and loss statement will be present in the same way as balance sheet, like on top written with balance sheet.
Milan, did you get that?
Yeah, so just to confirm if I understand it right, so are you asking in a balance sheet it's always called a balance sheet? So in a profit and loss statement, is it always called profit and loss? Is that the question?
Yes, sir.
Right. So the answer is actually no, because so this is where you need to bring a little bit of financial knowledge into this solution. So sometimes your P&L could be called as, in this case, right, income statement in this case. So see, you are still calculating the profit for the financial year, but it's titled as income statement. In this case, it's directly called profit and loss. In this case, it's called statement of comprehensive income, but still you're looking for the profit of the financial year. So just to help you a little bit, usually in the UK GAAP format, how it would appear is you will, the first table you're going to get is the profit and loss, but that's one way for you to double check. However, it doesn't mean that your logic has to be look for the first table and call it a profit and loss. And again, if I repeat, the answer to your question is no. It might come in different ways, but another way I can help you is maybe if you have one person with financial knowledge in your team, or maybe you may be having it. If not, you can do a little bit of research, and maybe we can have a dictionary with listing down all these ways how a financial document or other profit and loss is called, and then we can pick it and check it from there.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. And I have one more doubt. Actually, will the document in the text read format or in this PDF, or it is an image? All the pages of the file. PDF.
Right, so these are not native PDFs, these are scanned documents, right? So these are going to come as images. So you will have to first run an OCR layer on top of this, and then the data to be extracted, and then you will run. There could be instances where the native PDFs are also coming in. We don't have control of that. That's how the companies want to file their statements. So if they file digitally, then it's a native PDF. If they file the hard copy, it will be photocopied, or rather it will be scanned and sent to us. So it could be a both, but the solution will focus on an OCR layer first.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. Any other questions I can clarify now?
Sir, can you explain the difficult part once again?
All right. So moving to difficult part, right? So what we are saying is financial statements with all above components. Now here, when we say all above components, I'm referring to balance sheet, profit and loss, and cash flow with notes. So that's one. All above components is this, and with notes meaning these financial statements can have notes, and the information in notes. So information in notes meaning if this says 11, assume that this is 3. So I go down the statement, and under notes I find 3, and I understand that this comes in tabular format.
Okay.
So assume that my note was number 1 in the above table. So I go to my number 1, and I find that this comes in free flowing text. So difficult meaning it can either come in free flowing or tabular format. So there is no restriction on that. So the logic, simple logic that you need to have is you need to see if the above components are there, and the notes either in free flowing or tabular format.
So we'll have to solve all the problems, easy, difficult, and moderate.
In this case, yes, because the solution we are looking at is, right, so if I put one document in, if I pass one document through, it has to either classify easy, moderate, or difficult. So that way the tool should be able to understand if it is an easy one or a moderate one or a difficult one.
Okay, so we have to just classify the problems, like
Exactly.
what sort of problems the statements are in.
Meaning your output would simply be easy, moderate, or difficult. That's all we need. No data extraction, nothing else.
Okay, so just we have to classify in we have to classify in 3 forms: easy, difficult, and moderate. In which type the balance sheet has been represented.
First part is yes, but second part is not only the balance sheet, right? So if it is a moderate, we're looking at, it could be either BS, profit,
Yeah.
profit and loss, cash flow. Correct.
I told balance sheet for example.
Okay. Yeah, you are correct in that case.
So that's the only output.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that all?
I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So I want to know what thing is exactly to be automated here, sir.
So in this case, right, so if I put the solution again very simply, the tool that we need to be built is, you will have an input folder.
Okay, sir.
So when I place a file in this input folder, say I place these 3 files. Okay, so I need, and when I run the solution you build,
Okay.
okay, I want it to give me an output in CSV format.
Okay.
For each and every document name. So in this case it will call as 006839982. If it, which category does it belong to? Does it belong to easy, does it belong to moderate, or does it belong to difficult?
Okay,
So
sir.
if it is Tabular, if I open the CSV file, I will see 0.63182, comma is in this case, hypothetically.
Okay.
Read this number, comma moderate.
Okay.
This number, comma difficult.
If
So that's the solution we need.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you.
I think now we can move on to the next problem statement, Milan.
All right, great. So moving to the second problem statement, to start off, this carries 100 marks from weightage. That's the maximum possible mark that we can take. And the output, how it is needed, is in MS Word format, exactly as in the PDF. So I will explain what we are meaning by here. And just put things for us to in a way where we all can easily understand. What we need is, if you look at today, there are so many, when we run a scan document through OCR, we're going to get a lot of OCR errors. For example, your O could be coming out as 0, or rather your L could be coming as 1, and it could be the same way, it could be vice versa as well. So these are just a couple of examples that I have, but there's going to be a lot of OCR errors that you have, especially given that the quality of the scan, the image is low. So this is one of the biggest challenges in the industry, and what we need is the solution to first run an OCR layer. So again, similarly, you will have an input folder, just like the first question. I will place all my files in folder 1, and then the solution will take one file, apply an OCR layer, it extracts all the information, and then it will run. If I call it a machine learning solution, it will run the machine learning solution on the OCR extracted text. It will identify any possible OCR errors, and then it will denoise whatever the errors that it find, and then it will give an output in MS Word format. So to summarize how the solution is, I will have one input folder, I will place a file, I will run the bot, so the bot will extract everything, do a complete review to understand all these OCR errors, it will fix all these OCR errors, and then it will output the file in MS Word format as exactly in the PDF. Now, one of the biggest challenges that I've seen is, or rather one of the biggest challenges that a lot of people face is, now this problem from a solution standpoint, if you look at it, actually has two. One is fixing these OCR errors. Second is, how do you replicate the PDF file as exactly in MS Word. Now, for example, if I take this, now replicating these in MS Word is not a challenge from my experience at least, but replicating this, you might have a challenge. So the lines, the white spaces that you have, this folder structure you need to create, or rather this table structure you need to recreate in Word. So if I take this has to be recreated. If I take this, again, this has to be recreated. But there could be instances. So again, I would call these are easy ones because you can see a clear difference between these tables, right? Or rather these columns. But in a situation like this, it makes a little complex. So you'll have one column, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this 6, so the bot needs to be able to understand the difference between this line item and this line item. So that's the second part of the biggest challenge that you have, even though we don't explicitly call it in this solution. This is how your solution would look. It's going to have two parts. One part is your OCR denoise, extraction OCR denoising. Second thing, recreating, replicating the same in MS Word. So that's at a high level, that's pretty much the solution is. And I will pause here for a moment to take part of the questions that you'll have.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's Aditya, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Aditya, go ahead.
So can we present more than one Word document as an answer?
Per document, is it?
Yeah.
if run one PDF file, you're gonna give me two outputs, two MS Word files.
Yeah.
But why would you do that? Meaning, what is the difference between those two files? If I to understand.
Like if some characters are looking same, and so we are having confusion in drawing those characters, then we may present in two files. So like instead of reading the whole files, you will just have like marked places that these were the differences.
No, I did not understand, Aditya, your solutions. If you could take me through again.
So like what you said about 0 and O.
Mm-hmm.
So if 0 and O are very similar in a solution, okay, so we can present it in two different files.
So in one file you're gonna put it as 0, and the other file you're gonna put it as O. Is that what you're saying?
Basis on the size, like if there's a capital O and there's a 0 and there's a small o, so those three things are different. So capital O will have a different size when compared to the small o, and 0 may have a similar size to the capital O. So at that time we may have a confusion between O and zeros.
Okay, that part I understood, but why would you have two outputs?
That's what, like at one file that capital O will be taken as a O, and another file the capital O will be taken as a 0.
Okay, I got it. Yeah. So the answer is gonna be a no, because that's gonna be a part of the solution. So we want you to focus on building logics to predict what is the best in this case. So if it is something like a table, right? So if I'm to bring one example, so if you are trying to extract this table, so one of the simple logics you can have is you're obviously not going to get a character here. You will have a digit, a numeric value. So logics like that we want to use. So that's the simplest one I can come up with. But there are other machine learning models which will predict uh, what's the character going to be. So we want you to use these models and select the best suitable character that is being extracted, that is being OCR, that's possible, and replace it and give us one output.
Sir, I have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
Like what you said for the that balance sheet part, that balance sheet will be difficult to present it in Word document. So can we take it as an image in Word document?
So to make sure I understand it right, so you want to take this as an image and copy paste it to Word?
Yeah.
No, we need, see, then the entire solution is not fixed, right? So the solution number one that we want to do is we want you to run an OCR layer and extract information. Solution number two is from the OCR layer you need to find out all these issues and fix. And third, then you need to replicate this entire thing in Word. So if you only take a screenshot and put it, none of these three things are done. So it's a definite no.
No. No. I'm like asking if I'll make the changes. I'll read everything, and after reading, making the changes, and then putting it in a Word file, that PDF file, and then I'll take a screenshot and put it in Word file.
Okay, I got you. But unfortunately, Aditya, still it's going to be a no. So Word file we need to be in the original format where we can copy paste text.
Okay.
Hello.
Sarthak, you have to ask anything?
Yeah, one question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
If we have the table like in the balance sheet or in the other tables, which you have lines in the potato part, lines have been drawn, right? Right.
Yes, I got it.
So do we need to replicate those lines as well?
You're asking these lines, right?
Yeah.
No, it's a no. You don't have to have lines. Yeah, these are not needed.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Sir, I do have a few questions. First is regarding the input.
Can you please be a little louder?
Yes, ma'am. Hello, is it audible now?
Yeah, okay. Kiran, go ahead.
Sir, first of all, will the input be in the form of images in the PDF or text in PDF? Because the dataset provided has a lot of text.
Yeah, right. So as I said before, it might be a mix. These are three files that I have actually selected to train or run, right? So in this case, if I do a check right now, this is an image for me. Let me check the second. Okay, second is also an image. Third is also unfortunately an image. So it's going to be a mix. So it's a must that your solution has the OCR layer first.
Okay. Sir, one more thing. See, this problem mainly focuses on removing errors from the OCR output and then presenting it in the same way in the Word document. But sir, using different OCR techniques like, or even modules like Tesseract or the one provided by Google, will obtain different results. So, is there a standard OCR technique which you guys recommend? Because see, the difference in the OCR will also lead to difference in the output, but that OCR is not in the problem statement. The problem statement specifies about removing the errors.
Yeah, so that's exactly why we want to keep it open. The reason being, we want to give you guys the opportunity to pick whatever the best OCR model that works for you, that works for your model that you're going to select. But on the other hand, I can share one more point. Is another way of looking at it is a very simple way, right? So what if I run two OCR engines and compare results? So stuff like that. So to look at those items. So that is why, hence the reason why we're not defining or limiting it to one OCR engine. So it's your call to go ahead. But only thing to remember is this has to be based on free software. So that takes off the paid software, OCR software, the usage of paid OCR software in this for this solution. Rather licensed OCR software.
One last question. The output will be in the form of Word document sharing the same name as that of the input in the same folder, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank
you. Sure.
Hello.
Yes, Arthak, go ahead.
Just one more question. What is to be the font size of the document that we generate? Is there any limit or something like that?
No, I wouldn't limit the font size. So that just go ahead and have the normal font size that you would have, right?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I can see one more hand raised. So I can't read out your name. Please go ahead, ask your question. Yeah.
I'm Arvind. I have a question. Do we need to preserve the format of in the PDF, like the bold, italic, and table style, or can we follow a universal style for all documents? Hello.
So yeah, just to make sure I understand your question right. Yeah, in Word styling, Word formatting, you're free to use whatever you want to use, but we just need the structure, right? So if there is a gap here, we need that gap. We need that gap. These gaps we need. So simply the structure is replicated. However, the formatting and formatting you're free to use it, meaning change it.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, Milan, I think we can move on to the next problem statement.
All right. So if I take the third problem statement, so in this case, again, it carries 100 marks and the output is expected in CSV format. And how this problem statement is defined is, now we already discussed about these financial tables, right? We talked about balance sheets, we talked about profit and loss statements, and the first question focused on how to by looking at this, how to classify these documents. Second question focused on extracting the entire document and replicating in a Word file. Now third question will focus on extracting information to a structured template. Now the reason why I use the term structured is, if you look at, these are having their own structures, right? So this is how a balance sheet would look like. So this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 documents, or rather 6 columns. in this case, if I go to a P&L, the structure is different and they are worded differently: turnover, cost of sales, gross profit, administrative expenses. Here it's completely a different structure and again worded differently. And here, if I go to the third, it's again in a complete different format, right? And worded differently and structured differently. So when you have different types of documents with different formats and worded differently, the challenge is how do you extract all this information to a standard template or rather a predefined template. So that's all the solution is. You are given a template and you are given these files. So you will go read these files, extract the data in the way that we have predefined, and have it send an output in the structure that we have defined. So to tell you which structure that we need, so we are using the profit and loss structure that's been defined by the UK Companies House or UK government, and these are the standard terminology that the UK government defines. You will have something called a turnover, you will have a line item for cost of sales, and then you will have a gross profit, distribution costs, administrative expenses likewise, and then you will have the year, the currency, and then the numbers. Okay, so what we need is, and this is how a typical P&L would look. So what we need is, we want you to match these line items. For example, in this case, if it takes turnover, I think here also directly it's called turnover. So in this case, there's no matching needed at all. Turnover, you can be directly matched to turnover. And then if you have cost of sales, again, there's nothing to match directly. It's called cost of sales. In that case, I find turnover. I pick the turnover value here, and I go ahead and I place it here. And then cost of sales, I pick it, I go ahead, I placed it here. So if these items are tagged in the same way, turnover is called turnover, cost of sales is called cost of sales, then I don't have any challenge at all. Distribution cost, administrative expenses. Let me see if I can show you a challenge. No, it's the same. Operating profit, interest receivable, operating profit, interest payable, expenses. All right. All right, so just one example here, right? So in this case, under operating profit, you have interest receivable is something we need, and interest payable and similar charges is something we need. So you go read this document and see under operating profit, you do not have interest receivables, right? So it's going to be a blank here in the document if you try to extract this table. But on the other hand, if you see here, it's called interest payable and similar expenses. But if I go up, my table is called interest payable and similar charges. So now your tool should be able to match interest payable and similar charges against or with interest payable and similar expenses. Now again, this I would call a very simple example or rather challenge, but I want you to remember this for a moment. Remember the structure and take a look at this. Now you need to be able to turn over cost of sales, gross profit, administrative expenses, other operating income, operating profit, interest payable. Now this table needs to be tagged here. And this table, in this case, it's very different. Turnover, other income, cost of material, staff costs, depreciation of write-offs, other charges, tax on profit has to be tagged here. Now this table has to be tagged here. Now this is the challenge, and obviously, as you might have guessed already, this solution involves a little bit of financial domain knowledge as well, because from our end we will not define or rather give you a library as to, or if you want to use a library saying interest payable and similar charges can come in 100 different ways and these are the 100 different ways. That we will not share it from our end. So that's something you will have to build from your end. So either it will be based on a logic or either it will be based on a machine learning model where it classifies and says, okay, see, this part, this line item belongs to interest payable. So that is up to you to define in your solution, but that's exactly what we need. So you will pick and tag these items. So here, if I take, you will tag these items to the previous table line items that you had, extract the data point and paste it here. And when you paste it, remember to focus on these brackets as well, because these brackets mean these are negative numbers. So if it is a negative number, we want to make sure that it comes as a negative number. So that's at a high level, that's the solution. And I'll pause here for a moment and open the forum for questions.
Any questions? Rakesh, any questions you have?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So you mean the template will be given and also the problem will be given. The OCR matches the OCR searches for the results and matches with the template and enters the details. That's what you mean.
That's correct. Yeah. So the template will be given meaning. So this is the template. So this
Yes,
will be
yes.
shared with you, and the solution or rather sample files is this. I believe these are already has been shared. So these tables you will have. So your solution is going to take information from this, put it to this, save it as CSV, and share it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Is this the final template, or will you change it when you test the solution?
No, this is going to be the final template. This is the standard template that's defined by the UK government. So we're not going to change this.
Okay. Then what will be the output? Will it be a single file containing input that will take multiple inputs, or it will be a multiple file output?
It's going to be a multiple file output. So if I have 100 inputs, right, I need 100 different CSV files.
And named under the same as the PDF files.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Any other questions?
I don't have a question on this problem, but I have a question on like, is the weightage of all the problems different, or all the problems have same weightage?
So the weights differ, right? So this question and the previous one, the above one that we saw, would carry 100 marks. So in this case, we are calling this will have 100 marks, challenge 3, and challenge 2 is also supposed to have 100 marks. 100 marks here. But the first challenge, depending on the complexity, we believe is a fairly simple one. So we have allocated 25 marks. So whoever wants to attempt the question with 25 marks will attempt this. Whoever wants to target 100 will attempt either 2 or 3.
So can we attempt multiple problems or only one?
I think, Vijita, we have already defined saying it will be 1, right?
Yeah, generally you have to at least define any one, but if you can attempt more than one also, we are welcome.
Okay, and just one more question. So whoever gets the maximum point, they win the competition, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Any other question?
Just to confirm one thing. So if there are 2 submissions, that doesn't mean that the 2 marks are going to be added and that's going to give you the highest mark. Instead, what's going to happen is, in case if there are 2 submissions from the same team or same person, we will look at which one has the highest amount of marks and we will pick that.
Oh, so marks won't be added up?
No.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so to sum up all, see, we are going to have one more follow-up webinar on Saturday, that is on 23rd. So I want you all to start working on your solutions right away. Start immediately working on it. Just see where you are getting stuck or where you have queries. So just note it down. We are going to have one more detailed webinar like this where you can get all your questions clarified with the mentors. And apart from that also, next week we are going to have one-on-one kind of mentoring sessions. So whoever wants to join that mentoring session, you can join those webinars. It will be an online discussion itself, just like this using Zoom. So you can share your screen where you have got stuck. You can just show it to the mentors and you can get inputs from them. So we want to assist you in each step of the solution development process. So if you get stuck anywhere, please note it down. Meanwhile, see, we have created a WhatsApp group here. I have sent you the link in the chat box. You can make a note of that chat. Join that WhatsApp group. If you get stuck somewhere and if you need kind of assistance on a express basis, you just type in there. You can share your screen. You can do the screen sharing the screenshot there. So we'll try to get the solutions from the mentors at the earliest. Okay, so any other questions, or if you want any other topic the mentor to highlight on here?
Ma'am, can you please tell what is the last date by which we should submit the solution?
By 3rd of March, we expect you to submit the solution.
Prototype or completed solution?
Completed solution in the sense we want you to upload the the whatever format in each use cases that they have mentioned, plus that GitHub link where you are going to save the solution.
So it wouldn't be the prototype, it's the final solution.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
How?
Yeah, please go ahead. Ask your question. Hello, sorry, I can't recognize your name here. It's coming as a URL. Please, tell your name. You can introduce yourself and ask your question.
So I have connectivity problem. Can you elaborate on the attempting questions? How can we attempt both 3 questions, or can we concentrate on a single question, and if we get the maximum point in there in a single question, can we win the competition or come first? Or if a person attempts 2 questions, performs moderately, and will the marks get added up, so he may get?
Now, see, for example, if you are attempting 2 questions, so what Milan had said that you can attempt both the questions. We'll review both the questions, and as per the weightage basis, they will try to rate you, or they will try to give you the score. And whichever solution has scored the highest, that will be considered.
Okay, thank you.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
just
please.
to clarify, I had a small doubt. I applied, but I did not, complete the registration, while one of my teammates completed the registration with my email ID. That won't be a problem, right?
No, see, we can't understand who has logged in. If your team member has logged in using your credentials, then it should not be a problem. You will be moved on to the next stage, where now you will be able to choose the track that you want to submit the solution for, and you can take the take it to the next level.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, Prashant, you can unmute yourself. Prashant, you have any question?
A short question. Will this webinar made available in somewhere, recorded format?
Yes, I have recorded this webinar and I will upload it in YouTube and share it with you all very soon. Maybe by tomorrow I will try to share.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Ma'am, just one more question. So is the winners based on the problem solutions, or winners are based on the marks they get?
Milan, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, so it's purely going to be based on the marks that you get. However, the marks that you get will be based on the solution you select, right? So if I select the first question, which carries only 25, even if I score the max, I'm going to get only 25. Yeah. But if I pick the second question, which gives me 50, and if I do 50% of the solution, or rather say you got 50% right, so you are given 50 marks, so you're going to get 50 marks. Likewise, so it depends on the total marks that you get, or rather total meaning the mark that you get. However, the mark that you get is based on the solution you select.
No, the thing is like if I'm taking the first solution and you told marks are not gonna add up. So if I solve only the first solution, then in no way I can win the competition because I will get maximum 25 marks.
Yeah, that is provided that whoever is attempting the second question is going to get anything about 25, right? So if your assumption is right, yeah, then you will not get any marks, meaning you are unable to win the competition contest.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Prashant wants to know that where do we have to upload the solution? Sorry, I'm in library. I have asked where do we have to submit the solution. So Prashant, you need to log into your ID5 account, and there you need to upload the output. It can be a CSV or Word document, as Milan said, with respect to the each use cases. So you have to upload that document along with the GitHub link where you are going to submit your solution. So I think that's it. Any other questions?
Ma'am, you were saying we want to submit the solution as a result. We should not submit a XAML file, or else that's my doubt.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Milan, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, so I think what Vijita was trying to say is we need the output and also the solution. So the solution will be right now, what we are thinking is you will have it uploaded to GitHub. So the script, right, in this case. So the script will be uploaded to GitHub, and you will also share the solutions, the output with in ID5 platform. However, when we run it, how we will test is from our end, we will download the script from GitHub, we will run it in our computers based on a different set of samples, and your solution will be evaluated based on the new sample set that we are going to test, and that's going to be the same sample for everybody, test files for everyone.
Okay,
Does
sir.
that
Thank
answer
you.
your question?
Yeah, thank
All right, cool.
Yeah. So how it works is like, you would have most of you would have finished your stage 1, that is application stage. So in the application stage, when you submit it, then by Saturday, you all would have been moved to the next stage, that is solution development stage. So you would have received an email stating that you have been moved to the next stage. So here, now you have to log in from the same login credential. Then you can see the problem statement to which you want to apply your solution for. You can choose that problem statement and you can upload your solution there along with the GitHub link as explained by Milan. Hello everyone, I would like to ask how are the judges are going to rank the team? Is it based on marks? Yes, Kushal. So everything, the ranking will be completely based on marks. Any other questions? I think that's it. I request all of you to start working on your problem statement right away. If you start working on that, then you will get to know about other questions. So then please, we are going to have a follow-up webinar on Saturday. Join that webinar as well so that you can clarify all your questions with the mentor. Sarthak, you had to say anything?
Yeah, I just want to know the basis on which you're going to give marks. Like if I got 75, 50, and 25, so is it going to be addition of all the marks, or is it going to be the best of three?
It is like the top, if there are 3 problem statements and you have attempted all the 3, in first if you have scored somewhere around 50, second one if you have scored around 70, and third one if you have scored around 90, the third one, the highest one, will be considered.
Okay, not the total of all three.
Not total.
Okay, thank you.
And then on that line, right, since we got few more questions on attempting all 3, just a little bit of advice is so these questions are a little complex in nature and it takes a little bit of time for it to develop. So given that there is a time limitation, my personal recommendation would be to focus on one solution, give your best, and work till it gives you the solution that you require, that you need, and then if you have more time, move into the next or an additional question. So I wouldn't recommend attempting all three at once. I strongly recommend picking one, making sure if you're building a machine learning model, make sure it's trained properly, make sure it gives the solution exactly as if it is PDF extraction, right, as exactly in the PDF. Building your solution instead of trying to move into another one. But if there are people who can build one very soon, and then if you think you have enough time, then start focusing on another question.
Hope it answers all of your queries. So I think we are almost nearing the end of the session. So I wish you all a very good luck. Please start solving your problems, and I would like to meet all of you again on Saturday. So meanwhile, join that WhatsApp link. If you have any queries, let us try to get the answers at the earliest through that WhatsApp forum. Okay, and next week we are going to have, if you are requesting one-on-one kind of session also with the mentors, we are there to help you. We can arrange for the one-on-one kind of sessions. So please let me know. You all have my email ID. My email ID is vijeta@id5.in. You all would have received emails from me. So I'm just typing it again. It's vijeta@id5.in. Let me know if you have any question or concerns. I'll try to get the solution at the earliest. Okay, Saturday timing I'm going to share with you all soon. Maybe it will be around 3 to 4. So if that doesn't work, just let me know. Saturday, I hope that afternoon you all will be free. Any other thing? Maybe you can contact me through email ID or the WhatsApp group as well. Okay, all the very best to all of you, and see you all on Saturday.